Alright, guys, so I thought we'd do another quick guitar lesson. Actually, more of maybe an idea rather than a very specific lesson. So I thought tonight we'd look at Strat style tones or est style tones if you don't want to mention the potentially legal problems with mentioning a Fender product. I don't know. Anyways, Strat style tones. So I thought what would be kind of cool is sometimes when I'm looking for material to learn from or chew through or get to a point where I can digest it, I start looking at different bands or different types of music that I've never worked before. But the Strat style tone is, I think, the whole reason why I started playing guitar. Dad had a Strat, or has a Strat, and introduced me to a lot of music like Jeff Beck, Buddy Guy, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix, all these Strat style players. And I think that tone just kind of gets entrenched in your brain. So for me, I played lots of different guitars through lots of different amps, and I'm not saying that this is everyone else's choice, just mine. I love the sound of single coil pickups, and almost even more so, I love trying to create great tones through humbuckers and single coils if the guitar has a coil tap system to it. So just real quick, signal chain is, I got my Sir Ian Thornley signature that has a huge neck on it, so to try and play thumb over chimey Strat kind of chord progressions is a little bit more of a challenge, not because of the hand size, but I think because I played like a slim C style neck for so long that I just adapted that hand size to those shapes of necks. So anyways, I don't know where I was going with that, but that's the guitar I'm using and trying to get like a some chiminess out of it, and some guitar tones to try and do it a little bit of justice. So the two artists that I thought we would take a quick look at is Buddy Guy, and more modernly a guy like John Mayer, who is a monster guitar player as well. So let's start with the polka dot guy, Buddy Guy, one of my favorite blues artists actually, and he did collaboration with Bonnie Raitt, and they covered a John Hiatt tune called It Feels Like Rain. And it's something that I've played for years, and every time I kind of come back to it and go, oh, I forgot about that tune, let's play it a little bit, I realize how cool the chord progression is, how many little tricks that Buddy's doing. I'm always adding stuff to it. By no means a master at all, but just little nuances and things that he does all the time. So the chord progression or maybe the melody of the song is really important to me in this sense. Like I don't just want to play my C like and just kind of chunk through it. I want to add some color even if I'm playing the rhythm parts of it. So my job is to play that chord in some way that can make it sound more musical, a little bit more interesting, and also something that my ability can handle. So not trying to push the envelope too much, but if there's a part in the song where the dynamic kind of comes down and it's just left to the guitar player, maybe guitar and bass or maybe guitar and drum or something, that rhythm section should be strong enough to carry it with whatever instrument you're accompanied with, and also should be just as musical as if, in my opinion, as if the vocalist was humming along with you. I'm not talking crazy busy or anything, but tasteful. So anyways, so how they start it is, so just trying to make those things ring out. And what's really cool and something that still baffles me is how some great players out there can make these amazing melody lines on top of that and make a great chord progression sound even better with the phrasing or soloing that they're doing on top of that. So yeah, well, both Bonnie Raitt and Buddy Guy are masters at that. But what he does, he starts in the C9 position and kind of rolling up into the B note on that C9, and so anyway, that's the extent of my ability to play something like that. But I want to try and do it as tasteful as possible, and also really kind of take note of how he accents certain parts of it, and then brings the dynamic down to make the song almost make you really want to listen to it to hear the story that he's playing. So I've heard lots of great guitarists talk about how good guitar playing has pauses in it, like conversation. So if we're going to have, a back and forth conversation, there would be time for me to listen and then time for me to speak. And I think that that's something that some of these players are just fantastic at. So they, not just resting, but kind of taking accents up. The dynamic kind of comes up and comes down and kind of in and out like that. And the accompaniment of that melodic line over top of the chord progression gives that song a whole bunch of more depth, in my opinion. So yeah, check out Buddy Guy and Bonnie Raitt's version of It Feels Like Rain, and then check out John Hiatt's version of the same song, because it's kind of neat to look at both versions of that and put it together. Now, one that was always kind of in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, I should sit down and try and learn that, was a John Mayer tune called Slow Dancing in a Burning Room. Now, that guy has an incredible musical ability, and his guitar playing is insane as well, but I thought to choose that tune because it really gives a great example of, again, those kind of Strat tones. So Buddy Guy, of course, has a monster Strat tone, and John Mayer in this song has an amazing single coil, little bit driven kind of a tone happening there. So yeah, anyway, he does a chord progression, C sharp minor, A major, and then E major, and the execution of it is really tasteful. It's a very slow tempo song, and yeah, just in the verses we have something along the lines of So we have a couple different inversions of the E natural or E major chord that we're resolving that line on, and I've noticed that he'll take different shapes to try and I just think it's cool. You get these different voicings of that E major chord mixed in there, but what I like about it so much is that chord progression sounds fantastic on its own, and so anything that they're adding on top of that really builds again to the layers and maybe complexity of the song. So I guess what I'm getting at is there was a lot of room in that chord progression to be putting in phrasing, to be putting in later on soloing and things like that. And maybe the important part to think about is, does my solo need to be lightning fast? Does it need to be this? Does it need to be that? And I was watching an interview, I think it was with Andersons, I can't remember. The guys over in the London area, and it was the captain and Ian Thornley having an interview, and something that Ian had said in that interview that I thought was really intelligent. He's like, there was a lot of egos in the room when they're trying to write music and doing this and that, but the biggest ego in the room has to be the song. So what really serves that song? Now, I'm biased because I can't play crazy fast. I don't have those chops yet, working on them. And my friend Scott is always trying to help me out, so make sure you check out his page for the way more technical stuff. I'll put a link to that because he is a savage and impressive player. But I guess what I'm trying to get to is, what does the song really deserve? So is this the time to show off, my scale memorization, my internal Guthrie Govan, or whatever, or is it time for me to serve the song? And something that I learned from professional musicians is make sure you're really listening. So what does that song need? What does it warrant? What does it deserve? And everyone has different tastes for music. It is art. Some people will be like, oh, that's fantastic, or oh, that's crap, or whatever it is. But it's subjective to that, and I think that's why it's really cool to have a diverse mixture of music and see what you like and what you don't like. And if you're a musician, now start to figure out why. So why does that scale sound good to you melodically over that chord progression? And why does another scale, like nails on a chalkboard to you? So, anyways, kind of getting to the song. So again, that chord progression, to just try and get it into a position in our memory a little bit. So he's really starting a great conversation there, getting that on the go. And the drums are pretty laid back, but holding that very, very steady, and the bass is doing his job in the low end, holding that together. And he's kind of coming in like really kind of riffy stuff, and this is the kind of stuff I really like sinking my teeth into, because I want to learn how to play those sounds. So I found in my experience the best thing I can do is find a song that I like, that has the types of things that I'm trying to challenge myself with, and learn the song the best that I can. And YouTube has lots of great instructionals on how to play the things note for note. This is more of an idea like, hey, check out these Strat style players, songs maybe you've never heard of, or maybe you've never worked out, and challenge yourself with them if you like the way that they sound. So he's got this really cool slide in, and we're working that, like working this really thumb over heavy technique, that Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix, these guys have made really famous. And I love how that dynamic kind of kicks in there like that, and you're getting this kind of mid slide in and working up to that. Then we get to these kind of chimey, double stop-ish kind of like I love those answers. Working that kind of stuff, to me it just sounds like really good classic Strat music. So anyways, so while that chord progression's going on, he's got so anyways, just some ideas for you guys. I get stuck in a rut a lot with guitar playing, and I found getting lessons from a professional musician has opened those blocks that I end up having. So by no means am I a professional musician at all, but it's something that I really enjoy, something I really have fun with. So I want to push in that threshold and not have it just be something that, okay, I'm satisfied with the results as it is. So I'm always trying to find a new weird chord to play, see how I could fit it into a melodic line or a chord progression, challenge myself with a new scale. Make sure you're having some fun with it, and the number one thing is, hey, let's play some music. Let's kind of get it going here, and even if that's like a Johnny Cash tune, if you can get that rocking, Folsom Prison Blues, I think, is the number one song that every guitarist had to learn. Otherwise, you get your guitar player card pulled from you. And just have some fun with it. Until next time, cheers.